Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Tampa Bay Real Producers Podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for real producers, by real producers, and with none other than Tampa Bay's real producers, as well as powered by Top Producers Nation, which is our community helping agents all over the country become top producers. And you can check that out at topproducersnation.com. Today, we have our guest, Mr. John Morgan IV. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Glad to be here.
Yeah, no doubt. Excited to dive into John's story. He's got some fascinating stuff. We were talking off camera about your background a little bit. I'm excited to dive into that. If John looks familiar, it's because he was just featured in our July 2024 issue of Tampa Bay Real Producers. He was the one to watch, which is basically like our rising star spotlight, since John really hasn't been an agent that long. Just got licensed about 6 years ago, I think you were saying.
Yep.
So we'll dive into that story, and I think there's some stuff that you learned there in that first year or so, huh?
Yeah.
That we'll talk about
Build
too.
some character. Yeah.
So, John, let's go ahead and start a little bit with your background. Did you grow up in Tampa? If not, how did you get to Tampa? You can mention some of the things that you did for a career before you got into real estate, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I was actually born in North Miami, Florida, and I lived in South Florida probably about like half of my life. And grew up on the East Coast, and I was working for a company called Haverty's Furniture, and I was kind of moving up the corporate ladder with them. And they transferred me. I moved to Orlando. A lot of my friends were going to Orlando, going to UCF, and it was exciting to live there. And then once they were all kind of leaving, I decided, okay, well, where do I go now? So my company had a great opportunity in Wesley Chapel.
Yeah.
So I moved over to New Tampa. And I fell in love with Tampa immediately, and was going down my journey, and ended up going back down to South Florida. Got a promotion,
okay.
And then I was
what company was that?
Haverty's Furniture.
Okay,
yeah, and so I was
you're slinging the furniture,
running I was in management, so but yes.
Was that your first job out of school?
So I was into furniture business like pretty quickly, yeah, like right out of school. I was 18 and I was in electronics, office furniture, entertainment, appliances, and I excelled really well like right out of high school, and I was making like really good money, and then I ended up just kind of making a career out of it. It was crazy. So I would always kind of feel guilty of not going to school, but then I was making so much money doing that where I was like, why would I?
So you were doing it right out of high school?
Right out of high school.
Did you ever go to college?
No.
Okay, awesome.
Never. Yeah, never one.
So started getting into business right away.
Yep, immediately.
Yeah. And you must have been doing well with it because they kept promoting you. And you were then managing groups of people, it sounds like?
Yes. Yeah, so I was with one company, and then, I ended up getting with Haverty's when I was like 25. But yeah, so gosh, what were we talking about?
So you were going from the furniture business,
yes.
And then you were moving back to Miami, it sounded like?
Okay. Yeah, so they moved me back down to Boca Raton. So I run a Boca Raton location. It was great area to live in. Loved it, but I was like homesick, and I just really wanted to go back to Tampa.
Yeah.
And so ran a Boca Raton store, got that one up and running. It was great. Went to West Palm Beach. And then after that, we're talking about like, okay, like what's next? So either I can stay down there, or I can kind of get like a lateral move, maybe like Jacksonville. But then like, later on, I would find myself probably going to like a state that I've never really lived in. I've only lived in Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe like North Carolina, maybe like Missouri, maybe Indiana. Like I didn't really know. And I was like, I just really like living in Tampa, guys. Like, can I just go back there? And they're like, well, you can, but it's like, we don't really have the best opportunities for you. And then I was like, I don't know. I just really want to go back. So then I, went back to Tampa, and I was like, I got to figure out like what I'm going to do next. Cause like this career is not,
Yeah. You didn't want to go anywhere, and you didn't see growth there necessarily.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I definitely would have grown, and I would definitely had achieved my goals. There's no doubt. Like with that company, it was great. I had a great opportunity. They were very accepting, and they loved me, but it just didn't line up anymore with like my goals. And I was like,
Did you like working in like corporate America?
Not really. It's not for everybody. I did pretty well with it, like the politics and stuff. And I just like really like connect with people in general. Like I loved my boss. Like that was my buddy. Like he was great. And I, enjoyed going to work for him, and, so that wasn't too bad. But yeah, I mean, the problem is like, you're so out of control. You're so out of control of your career.
Yeah.
you really don't have much of a
That
say.
makes it tough for like control freaks like me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at least with real estate, it's like I know, if I put in this work and if I do these certain actions, like I'll get the result. Like at this point. I didn't know that when I first started, obviously. But
yeah, we're going to talk about that first year. But so you mentioned off camera that you also were a professional poker player for a while.
Yes.
Did that happen after the furniture career? Was that starting while you were working there?
Right. So I got fascinated in poker in my early 20s. And then when the housing market had crashed in 2008, furniture is directly linked to the real estate market. So if people aren't buying houses, they're not buying furniture. So then I left my job because I went from making like 80,000 a year to making like, 1,600 a month, like nothing. And then I was always fascinated at poker, and then some of my friends at like on the online gaming world were like getting into poker, like, oh, we're making all this money, and I was like, oh, that sounds great. I would love that. That's a dream job. I'll be a
travel the world, online poker. You can do it anywhere, as long as there's internet, right?
Right, exactly. This sounds amazing, right? So then I get into poker, and then I realize, oh wow, this game is very, very challenging, and ended up getting coaching and practiced a lot and read a lot and just watched a lot of videos and just put a lot of work into it, and then finally got to a point to where I could sustain a living doing it.
Nice.
But definitely wasn't.
How long did it take you to get good?
Goodness.
And your definition of good, I guess. Which would probably be different than mine. But
right, exactly. I say to get to where I'm playing professionally, it took me probably about 6 months of like really practicing, and putting in a lot of work. Like it was my job. Like I didn't work. So that was my goal, was just to like be a professional poker
player. And were you
player.
making enough money in that learning period through poker that?
Not really. No. I mean, you're kind of breaking even, kind of losing a little bit, and if you're not too crazy, so.
And once you get to professional position, right? Whether that's an official title or one that you just give yourself, I guess professional poker is an actual like title, right? Like you have to apply for something, or how does that work?
No, I mean, you would call yourself a professional poker player. If that is your primary source of income, then you're a professional poker player.
That makes sense.
And that's your primary source of income. So obviously if you're losing, you're not a professional poker player because you're not making an income from it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You're
losing all the time, even if you play a lot.
Right. You're aspiring. You're an aspiring professional poker player. You're definitely not professional, that's for sure. So
do you ever, when you are a professional poker player and you're making money consistently from it, are you finding that you're generally playing against other professionals most of the time, or are you generally taking money off people who aren't professionals?
Yeah, so online, you're definitely playing against a lot of professionals or aspiring professionals, just depending on the stakes that you're playing in. But yeah, I mean, in general, you want to be playing recreational players who don't have to play for a living.
Yeah.
It's a whole different game.
Much easier to take the bag from them, right?
Yeah, because they're just having fun. You know what I mean? They just want to like splash around and play some poker, like they're not like, only playing the top, 5% of hands in certain positions, and like like these days it's crazy how the math and where it's gone, for evaluating like how to play, for a living.
Has the skill level of the top people gotten much better?
Oh yeah, significantly.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like when I was playing, like the stuff that we would do was like, I mean, you look back and you're like, you understand why it worked, but like these days, like a lot of that crap wouldn't work.
Huh, interesting.
There's no way it would work.
Yeah, I feel like we can talk about the poker thing this entire podcast.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot to dive into there that I would be fascinated by anyway.
Yeah, and I don't want to bore everybody either.
I think our audience would probably be too, and we'll definitely get into real estate here, I promise. But a couple quick things about the poker that I have to ask. So when you're doing this professionally, were you finding that you were doing it mostly online, or was it a lot of in-person,
Poker was
games?
Online only.
It was all online?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you weren't going to casinos then and hitting up rooms and stuff?
Nope, I wasn't. It was pretty much just at home. And then they did end up, there was a really bad event where the government shut down all the internet. I mean, all the gambling sites.
Oh, wow.
They were all shut down one day. So then I lost my money.
Wow.
That was on there. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to go back to work. So I went and got a job at Haverty's with one of my old colleagues,
Oh, wow. So was that kind of the genesis that got you out of doing poker full time, realizing that you also didn't have complete control there of your money?
Well, yeah, there was a couple things. Honestly, it's not a life that I want to live. It really isn't. It's tough, like when you're relying on, numbers working in your favor. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely
It's not
luck-
always going to.
It's
Yeah.
not always going to work out. Like, think about it. You could be like 80% and you can lose like 5 times being like an 80 or 90%
Sure.
favorite. Like, just probability at some point it will
Yeah.
happen.
Makes sense.
You could lose 10 times. I mean, you could lose 20 times. You know, like legitimately.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, it just wasn't very fulfilling. It was something that like I enjoyed doing like for fun, but like playing for a living, you know, I think there's a lot of things that you'd like to do, you know, like, you know, on a weekend, but like, do you want to do it for a living? I don't know, you know?
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. So you still play for fun now.
I do play for fun, yeah.
Get to take off your buddies and take off their take the bag from your buddies every now and again.
Well, yeah,
right?
no, they kill me too sometimes. Though, trust me. No, I mean, there's times I've had some huge losses where it's just brutal.
So let's talk a little bit about how this real estate thing got kicked off, right? So you got licensed 6 years ago, you mentioned.
Yep.
What was it that was the genesis for getting you into real estate eventually? Like what made you take the test and get going? And let's talk a little bit about your experience in your first year.
Yeah. So what got me into real estate? So my mom's, it's very comfortable because my mom's been licensed for now probably about 25 years, maybe a little close to that. My grandfather also was very real estate minded. So like it made sense for me.
So it was in the family.
It was in the family, so I was very comfortable with it. But like, really, what ended up happening is I was dating this one girl, and she was a nanny for one of the top. He was like one of the top Remax brokers in the country. I think at the time he had like maybe 8 offices or something like that. And she used to work for him. She's like, "You got to get into real estate. This makes a lot of sense. You got to do it." And I was like, "Okay, well, you know what? I guess I'm just gonna do it." And then I was working for a guy, so I took a demotion obviously to go to Tampa, and my superior, I'd asked off for Bucks game. Bucks and Eagles are playing. I'm a big Bucks guy. My brother-in-law is a huge Eagles fan.
Okay.
And I had bought the tickets and everything. I had requested a time off, and I already had this in the back of my head, like, okay, I want to do this whole real estate thing. And then there was a key moment that happened, and it just happened. It's just everything happens for a reason. I just thank God that this happened. But I asked for the time off. Never asked for any time off, came to work every day, never caused any problems. And then he's like, I can't have you off that weekend. I'm like, what? Like, okay. And then he's like, yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend. We got some of the other guys that are, and this and that. I'm like, yeah, but it's not a holiday weekend. It's not a blackout period, this and that.
Right.
And then I was like, kind of like, wow, like, because
Sent you a message.
Right, because my family is like really important to me, you know, and I'm like, man, that's attacking my family. Like that to me, that was like that. I was like, I can't have a job where like, this is so important.
And it's not like you didn't let them know in advance. I mean,
right. I followed all the rules.
Yeah.
I was like a month ahead or like whatever, 3 weeks ahead.
Right.
I had plenty of time off, never asked for anything. Great employee, all-star employee. You
Yeah.
know? So I was like, okay, this is a problem. So I didn't want to make a decision there, but like I slept on it and I put a lot of thought all night and I thought about it. And then I woke up and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I can't work for a company that.
Did you end up working that weekend? Or you have to.
No.
You didn't work. You
quit.
You quit before you left. Okay.
Yeah. I put in a notice.
Nice.
And I go to him and I say, hey, and I deliver him. I say, hey, I'm gonna put 2 weeks. No, I didn't want to be like, it's specifically this weekend or something. I said I'm gonna put in a notice and I say, well, what's going on? And I just basically explain. I'm like, look, this is getting in the way of like something that's really important to me, and my family, and this is really exciting. This is an awesome time for me to bond with my brother-in-law, and I was just like, they're like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, I'm going to figure it out. Yeah. And I literally, I had quit. Just like the 2 weeks notice is perfect. It was like right before the weekend.
Didn't know, I mean, you knew you had an interest in real estate at the time when you made that decision.
Right.
But you weren't licensed yet or anything.
No.
It sounds like you didn't have anything in the works necessarily.
I had nothing planned really.
Right.
And I was like, I'm just going to figure it out.
You took the leap.
I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I had this girl that I was dating, and she was like, kind of helping me, kind of like, coddling me through it. Like, no, you got to do this. It was great. Like, I thank God that.
Was she in real estate?
No, she actually worked for the same company in one of the other stores. Okay. Yep. Really hard to date people, that are outside the industry because you work every weekend, every holiday, nights. Like it's retail
I used to
stuff.
work at Sports Authority when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So, but it was like hours like that, right? It was weekends. It was the evenings even. It was just, I that was my taste and a couple other little jobs I had of working the corporate lifestyle. And I found out pretty early in my life that wasn't for me. But
yeah.
So you did then, it sounded like right after you quit, how long was it before you said, all right, I'm going into real estate and this is going to be my thing?
Yeah. So, I mean, I had determined, I was like, okay, I'm going into real estate. Like I'm putting in my notice. So I signed up for the class and got all that squared away, and I just immediately, like the Monday after that game, like
you were ready.
Yeah.
And it was all like unicorns and rainbows, right? Right from the beginning.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, and then that's where all my problems started.
So let's talk about your first year.
Drugs and alcohol. That's where, I'm just joking.
You mentioned off camera that you really struggled that first year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How long did it take you to get your first deal?
Yeah. So I got pretty much 6 to 7 months. That's when I got my first, my first checks. And I started helping rentals.
You didn't grow up in this market, so you didn't really have like a warm market to tap into necessarily, right? Nope. So were you working on a team at all, or like what was your experience like when you were first getting started in terms of like, and it sounds like this was kind of your first experience even in like an entrepreneurial role, right?
Yeah.
Having to really discipline yourself and not follow a schedule and just go to work and actually stick to something. So talk a little bit about what that was like and that experience emotionally. Yeah. And what that, how you eventually started to get traction.
Yeah. So it was crazy. I knew, so when I first started, I knew some people like from Haverty's and stuff, but yeah, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know like what like Bayshore Boulevard. I didn't know what all that was, or like Soho and all these different areas, Bayshore Beautiful, like all these little cities. Like I had no idea. Zip codes. I didn't even know how to get to the store without using GPS. So like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do real estate.
Perfect for an agent,
right? But the thing is that I know is that I study. I always put the work in. I will study and I'll figure it out. I may not be, I may not know everything, but I definitely will get the right answer, and then I definitely figure that out. So basically my story is that so I was living out like in the Brandon area. I knew I had to get the channel side. I fell in love with the area. I loved it so much.
So it was KW from the beginning that you joined? Yeah. Okay. What made you pick KW?
Because so remember that girl I had told you that I was dating? Well, that obviously didn't work out. But the people they connected me with, they sold all the Remaxes and they're with another company. They were trying to get me to go to this one company, but they didn't really have very good training. And I said, well, where do I go? Because I need the training. Like I can do this, but like I need a list of like, this is exactly how you do it. And then I can mimic that. I can follow that immediately. Always. And then
KW is definitely known for good training programs.
Right. So then he goes, who's the best? Yeah, I'm like, who's the best training? He's like, well, just do everything they say and you'll be successful. He's like, I promise you. I'm like, that's all I needed to hear. Yep. So, and then he said, come back to me when you're ready, for the next level or, whatever, and you want to figure stuff out. But then I never really found a reason to leave. Like, it just makes sense. Like, I always reevaluate my situation, like, consistently. And, like, for me, in my business, it makes the most sense for me right now. Like, I can't say it'll be forever, but, like, I don't.
Is a lot of KW's training, by the way, like in-house, like in person, or is it all online now?
So a lot of it's in person, but what I find a lot of value in is going to the outside events, the big events that they have. I meet a lot of agents. I meet a lot of great people, and I make friends with them. And then they'll send referrals to me. We'll be like, if I'm in their city, I'll go hang out with them. We'll have a good time. I love it. We'll go to the nicest restaurants and all that, and it's just great. So I love.
How often do they do those events?
There's always some kind of event going on. I mean, there was literally one when I went to, and it's not a KW event like, say, Jeff Glover particularly, but, I was going to go to his event, and then a tornado decided to hit Chicago when I was over there the other day, so I wasn't able to make it. Yeah. So, give me my money back, Jeff, please. Thank you.
So that first year, you said it took about 7 months to get your first deal. How did you go about trying to just get things started? Was there specific lead strategies that you dove into? Did you pick one? Were you doing a bunch of different things? Yeah. Like, what worked for you?
Yeah, so I did everything you possibly could. Like, whatever, call them FSBOs, expireds, canceled, anything, door knocking, open houses.
You were trying to just get a deal anywhere.
Whatever I could do with every ounce of time that I had. And by the way, I ended up becoming roommates with a woman that I met in class and Ignite training class, and we ended up.
You like dating women that you work with, huh?
I didn't date her though, but we lived together like as roommates, and then she ended up going like wacky on me, and like it turned into a really toxic scenario. So then I had that element. Like I didn't want to come home.
Yeah, that could add some drama for sure.
Holy cow. Yeah. Like it was absolute nightmare. Like
you were mentioning earlier that like, financially there was a lot of stress too, right?
Well, yeah, because I had a finite amount of money. I did have like 401k I could always like dip into, but like no one wants to do that. Take a big tax hit. And But yeah, so I was doing that. So I'd wake up at 5. So we had a big blowout, and then so I'd wake up at 5 a.m. I'd go to CrossFit at 6 a.m. class over in Brandon, because that was a class I went to. That's where my gym was. I would do that at 6 a.m. I'd rush back. I would take a shower, and then I'd get to the office around like 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. and just start making phone calls, and every morning.
Where did your first deal come from? Do you remember?
Yeah. Actually, it was CrossFit, and then I ended up working with a special needs. My CrossFit coach created a special needs organization, to help kids with disabilities and get them into physical fitness and like do the Special Olympics and all the little things that they, kind of give them a life maybe built around fitness, because they have a lot of health problems.
Yeah.
Because they're just sitting around a lot of times, people with disabilities, not getting out and getting a blood flow. So actually, my first deal was from him. Yeah. From his girlfriend's dad. I ended up there, and then I sold him a house, and then I sold his girlfriend a house too.
Okay.
And then I just started like, a lot of the CrossFit people were like, that's where a lot of my business came from. Of course, I'd get, cancels, expireds, FISBOs, like here and there, but like, I just found myself, I'm like, I could just like hang out and like improve like this little patch of earth that I'm in, and like people will buy real estate from me because I'm helping kids with special needs.
It's so important to find that niche, that you're going to serve. And I talk about that a lot with agents that are on the show. Just figuring it out. Like the guy who was here right before you, Mike Bosco, does a lot with the military and helping VAs and so forth. And a lot of the top people that we get a chance to interview, they have some sort of a niche that a lot of times could start organically, and then they figure out those ways to be able to serve that at a higher level, even if it's something as simple as a community gym, right? Just something that you're going to become a consistent presence at, and build it from there. And so now that your business, again, is 6 years deep, you just had, I think, one of your best years, right? This past year. And like I said, it's been featured as a rising star. So has the business, John, been kind of just a gradual growth now year over year, or was there like a spike year? Was there one big breakthrough that happened?
Definitely had. I mean, the big breakthrough was really, I think when I got into my third year, that's when I was like, okay, I got this figured out. And then really it's just like tailoring, like, now that I got it figured out, okay, now like, how do I live like a life where I'm like happy living in, and I'm excited to go to work every day, and I'm like, and it's hitting like my fundamentals, where I'm like, I'm helping people and I'm doing stuff for people, and so that's really, I've been molding my career. It's like, I haven't really necessarily been like, I just want to like grow and like sell millions, millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate. Don't get me wrong, that's great, but like I'm trying to do it like.
What's been your best year so far? The volume? Do you remember?
It was like 28 million.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I've been like consistent, like almost like every year, like I'm doing the same thing. Even like last year.
Over 20 million consistently.
Yeah.
And it's
over
just
20
been you,
million.
right? You're not, do you have a team you are building a team now? We talked about that. Yep.
Right. So what's funny actually is I made a mistake of like, so I found success, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to join, or like, oh, this guy's great. So then I took on a bunch of people, and I had like 7 of us. It's like ridiculous to even think that I did this, but it was 7 of us, and that actually set me back.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to manage all these people.
Now your energy is split. Yeah.
Right. My energy's split, and I'm like, I can do this on my own. So like I had my first agent, and then we ended up just basically removing, and they removed themselves, whatever, and it just ended up just being me and her, and then me and her would just like work stuff, and so it was just really me and her for like a lot of these the booming years.
Yeah. Has your niche at all changed? You mentioned the success you started to have through CrossFit and so forth. Is that still been an integral part of your business over the years, or do you have a different kind of community now that you find yourself getting a lot of success with, or is it just expanded in other ways?
Yeah. So it definitely, I mean, going out, like I like to socialize. I love going to nice restaurants. I love wine. I love all the nice things in life, and it's very expensive, of course. So also people that like that kind of stuff, they tend to buy more expensive homes because they have more money, right?
Sure.
So that's kind of been more of my niche now, and in like kind of in the gambling world, and that's where a lot of my success has came, and a lot of the connections that I make.
That makes sense
these days.
So people that are non-local that are wanting to move into the area.
Yeah, more people that are just local. Yeah,
okay.
just local, and in general, I don't help a lot of out-of-state people. Out-of-state people that I help is usually from an agent from like Virginia that I know, and they've got someone moving down for the military,
Gotcha.
going to McDill or something, and
Gotcha.
So I'll help those people.
So from the perspective of somebody who spent years in the corporate America lifestyle and now in an entrepreneurial lifestyle through what you've been building through KW and your real estate career, what do you find the most fulfilling about that distinction and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so it's what's really neat is that like I'm putting in such a smaller amount of effort that I did when I was in a corporate world. I get like 10x returns on everything that I do. So I felt like everything that I did before, it's like, man, I kind of make the same amount of money, maybe a little bit of a bonus, but in general, I just kind of make the same amount of money. And it's incredible how every bit of effort that I do, it's like, not only does it directly help me specifically, but I get a really nice return on it, on my time. So I mean, I look back and I'm like, it's crazy. I can't believe I didn't get into this sooner. But also I was learning a lot at that time too. I was managing people and I was dealing with, ups and downs and issues. So, I mean, it's kind of got me ready to where it's like, okay, I'm ready for this moment now.
So it's that leverage of time and a return on that investment of time.
Yes.
That makes sense. And so you mentioned what you're excited about now. Like tell us a little bit about what gets you fired up for the rest of this year, the future. What are you building towards? What are some of your goals or just things that you're excited about?
Yeah. So I really like helping people and helping people like achieve their goals. Like that makes me really happy where, like someone's like, oh, I want to make $1 million and I help them make $1 million and they're so excited and I could be a part of that. Like that's a passion for me. Like I love that. So that's why I've been slowly growing my team and getting into more of being a manager and kind of helping them and being a coach to them.
Are you finding a better balance on that now are you still doing self-production?
Yes, I do, but I'm really like trying to get my team to where I'm out of production. Yeah. That's my goal. Obviously I can't do that now, but that's definitely where I'm heading. And that is exciting for me because to see them like to change their lives and maybe their future family lives and different generations, like, wow, I mean, I can help them achieve that. There's no better feeling. It's just amazing.
How many agents do you have now? So
we have a total right now, technically 6, 6 of us. And we're basically, I pretty much at the end of last year, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this and start growing a team and,
nice.
Coaching meetings, a few times a week and, helping them.
Yep. So your balance now and your focus is on supporting the agents that you currently work with, and then also on recruiting. Are you actively doing things to grow and recruit, or is that more organic?
More organic, because also like I want like the right person. I want somebody that lines up well, like has, they have the right goals, they have the right, mentality, they've got the right personality for it. Like I really want to be sure that if somebody comes on, like there's a very high chance that they're going to be successful.
Sure.
Because that's
usually a learning curve for a lot of people too, is how to structure your interviewing process that way and set things up so that you can kind of filter some of that out,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when people get into teams for the wrong reasons or they get into the business for the wrong reasons and things like that, they just have to share the same like, goals and fundamentals that I have and, that we have. And, we're all about like helping the client. Like the client is number one. That's our number one thing, that we love our clients. We do everything for them. And it just kind of stems out from there of like doing the right thing, like just being honest. Like don't, like if somebody pulls up your email, like I have no problem with somebody like pulling up my email. You're never going to see anything, you know, or even a text messages and stuff like that. It's pretty transparent. Like, I want to have the right. Yeah.
It makes sense. And I think identifying what you want that culture to be, right? Yes. Especially as a team leader is critical first. Because then you can't really lay out the vision for your teammates and know the type of people that you want to attract if you don't have clarity on what you on that first, right? Yes. On those principles and on that culture. And that's really where it starts, I think, for the successful leaders that we've interviewed and the people that I've been exposed to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you have to, what's important to me, and then, okay, what do I want to, hit it. And a lot of people can learn from that. Starting a team. So is your focus, John, moving forward the rest of this year, like just making sure that for now anyway, the 6 agents you have are hitting their goals and reaching that production level before you're thinking about growing to 15 agents or 20 or whatever the number is? So it's really just making sure the people you do have are very productive. I want to make sure that they're productive, and then I'm good and I'm not overwhelmed. I also want to make sure that the people that I have have growth opportunity too, because I don't necessarily want to create a team where it's like a revolving door. I want to have somebody who's going to stick around, retained, be retained, and then and that's tricky, because how do you do that when they can possibly just leave and do their own thing and maybe make more money from that, right? I got to add a lot of value. I got to make sure that they're getting, no doubt. I'm, I always tend to put people first, like in general, like that's just kind of my mentality. But then also I do understand that like people, like they're not going to be around if you're not adding value. Like
Totally.
they need to make money. They need to like what they do. There needs to be something that you have that's what keeps them there. So I have a really good retainer on people that work out. Like my retaining is very high.
Yeah. I had a mentor once who shared with me when I was expressing, because I ran a business, not in real estate, but I was, developing and recruiting people and trying to train them to grow and run offices, right? And I had a question for him once about it kind of sucks where I invest all this energy into training people and then they end up leaving, because that was part of the franchise model I was in, is they could leave and do their own thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's true. I can understand the frustration, but he goes, but the opposite is that you don't spend the time training them and then they stay. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's bad. That's worse, right?
Yeah, that's tough.
You don't really want that either.
You got to pick up
yes.
Their problems are your problems. So it's like, guess what? You just created. Yeah.
You'd much rather create a culture, like you said, where you're building a ton of value, adding value. Yeah. And then, a lot of times people are going to be tied just because they're buying into the vision, and what it's all about. And that's what makes, I'm like you in that way. I love building teams. I love watching people hit their goals. And that definitely gets me fired up too. And it's even something why we're doing this Top Producers Nation thing, to see if we can add more value to agents out there and do that on a different scale, So that's cool to hear that. For people who might not know you as well on the personal side, we'll dive into that for just a few minutes. So, are you dating anybody now? Are you single?
Oh boy,
are you a single guy? Are you available? What's the story?
I'm available. I'm single. My
John Morgan IV is available.
My relationship life is definitely interesting.
You feel like you got time for a relationship with this business that you got going on, or what?
I'm working on it. Yeah, so that's part of the team, is leveraging people to where you can create more time for other things you like to do. Obviously,
do you want to have a family?
Yeah. So I actually have a daughter.
You do?
Yeah,
How
I
old?
do. I have a daughter. She's a year and a half.
Awesome.
Yeah. She's 15 months. So yeah.
Very cool. So that keeps you busy.
Yeah. So I do have a daughter. I'm not with the mom, but yeah, definitely.
Does your daughter live with you?
She does not. No, she lives with the mom.
You get to see her a lot though?
Yeah. She lives in Lakeland, and yeah, I see her 2-3 times a week. And then I just sold my place, so I'm in like a 1-bedroom, like bachelor pad, like a loft in channel side. And
gotcha.
It doesn't work
Must
with
be
having
rough.
a kid. Yeah. Well, yeah, when you have a kid coming, it's dangerous place. Yeah. Stairs and like
we actually have a
everywhere.
year and a half-year-old at home as well.
So yeah, they'll anything that can possibly happen wrong, like they will figure out a way to get into that and create the biggest problem.
Oh yeah, they can be pretty nosy.
Yeah, very nosy. Yeah, they want to know everything, every counter, every cabinet. So
yeah, we have a little girl as well who's a year and a half, and we have 4 other kids too, but they're older.
Oh wow.
But she's our youngest in the crew right now.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, we have 5. We have 5. I have 5 kids, but they're all 10 or younger.
Wow.
So my oldest just turned 10 in April. So our house is crazy. It's a zoo.
Can only imagine.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's not a nightmare. It's actually a blessing.
Yeah.
But
No,
I didn't really mean that. But
it's a tornado. It's like a tornado went off every morning.
It's never quiet. Right. I'll just put it that way.
Right.
I actually grew up as an only child, so this is like I never knew what it would be like to have like a bigger family, and that's actually always kind of was appealing. So that's the genesis of where we started growing our family.
Okay.
And now we know what we're in for. It is what it is.
Yeah, there's no going back. That's for
there
sure.
Isn't. No, it's definitely a blessing.
It's
awesome, but it is chaotic for sure. But so you want more? You want to have a bigger family or what?
Yeah, I would. I mean, it just depends on the girl. Whoever. I don't know who I'll end up.
Who that might be? The lucky lady out there one day.
Yeah, who knows? And whatever she wants.
What do you love to do for fun, man? What are some of your interests outside of real estate?
So yeah,
and
obviously
poker.
love playing poker. Going to nice restaurants. I love fine dining. I love wine. Traveling's awesome. I was just in Spain.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We got to talk about that a little bit. You're running with the Bulls.
Yes, I did running with the Bulls like a few days ago.
That's your first time going out there?
Yes. Never been to Europe, never been to Spain.
Did you feel like your life was in danger at any moment?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
So how close did the Bulls get to you?
Really close. Like I could feel the wind and the smell, and it's legit. I'm like, what am I doing? Like
if I saw get gored right now, no one's gonna know. Like,
oh yeah, no one really cares too much either. Like,
who did you go out there with?
So there was a group of people like in my neighborhood who there's something called bucketlistevents.com, giving them a great plug. Hopefully,
okay.
Yeah.
Bucket list
Give me
events.
Give me a free. I want to go.
Kind of a cool idea though. I like it. The sound really of it neat. So far. Yeah.
Yeah, I might do like Oktoberfest. I'm thinking they have like a bucket list thing there, and yeah. But yeah, they set you up. You just pay. You could pay like. So like I signed up for it, and it would like charge my card like whatever $400 or $500.
People in your neighborhood started it.
No, it's some other guy. I don't
okay.
know, maybe out of California. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure.
I
But,
gotcha.
But it was like maybe 20 people that were like basically got together from like Tampa. And
Nice.
it was really neat.
So it was a big group of you that went out there, sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. And you guys were all running with the bulls.
Running with the bulls. Holy cow. Well, not all of us did
So
it, but
take us a little bit through this. So like, are you all lined up and like there's like a starting line and people just start running, and then once you get out there a ways, they release the bulls and they just chase you down the streets? Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've got an interesting story actually. I can line up. I can maybe tell you a little bit.
Go ahead.
About
We got
the
a few
journey there.
minutes.
You got a few minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went out I went out the night before and had the absolute best time at this nightclub, and it was incredible. And we just had, I mean, it was literally like one of the best nights of my life. It was great. I loved it. Missed the train next morning.
What was her name?
Missed the train the next morning, and I'm like, this is terrible. So I ended up having to basically get a train into like a random city that, you know, it's like desolate.
Yeah.
And then take a bus from there to Pamplona.
Where's it? Pamplona, right? Okay.
Right. So ended up basically traveling for like 4 days. Like it was tough, you know, but I'm like, I was just getting punished. Like I borrowed all the fun like that night before. I borrowed all my fun,
right.
you know, that night.
You paid for it.
I paid for it, but it was fine. You know, I enjoyed it. But what was interesting about that is that this kid comes onto the bus, and all of a sudden I look down and everyone's looking at him. And then his sole of his shoe is like, it looked like it was melted to the bottom of the floor of the bus.
Okay.
And it was, I'm trying to figure out like what happened, and then I finally figured out he actually had his sole was coming apart, and he super glued his shoe so it would stay together. But then the super glue like came off, and then like ended up putting his foot onto the grass, so he had no shoes.
Okay.
Right? So I felt like so bad. I felt so bad for him, and I decided to. I had you know, some on clouds on, and I literally gave this kid my shoes.
Nice.
So then I did running with the bulls
Barefoot.
in dress shoes, in knee shoes actually.
Wow. Okay.
So just to put it in perspective, I'm out there in dress shoes, and you go out there, and they only let so many people like go in. I think like 20,000 people, something like that.
Okay.
Right? So you all basically
Were all your whole group with you?
yes.
Okay.
Well, some are on a balcony. The ones that didn't want to go, there was lots of people on the balconies, but yeah, the group that of us, yes,
That's
we're all
like
together.
the safe place to be. That's probably where I would be. Is
Yeah,
hanging
that's
out,
probably a good idea.
watching the fools running around with the bulls chasing them down the streets.
Yeah, and
Yes.
literally getting hospitalized. Like you're watching it. Like
That's intense.
Yeah, people are literally getting like just bulldozed. Yeah.
Now, do the injuries most likely though happen by getting run over by other people or by the bulls?
It's the other people that really...
That would make sense,
The
yeah.
bulls just want to get out of there. The bulls aren't trying to hurt you.
You're just in their way.
Right. If you're like... There are times where a bull is going to definitely try to hurt you, but in this case, they just want to get out. Like,
Right.
they're just trying to get to the
And the streets are
destination.
pretty darn narrow.
Narrow. Right. Right. So they just literally, like, they kind of, like, tie together, like, you know?
Yeah.
And it's crazy
And
how...
all 10 there's 10 of them, you said, right?
10 of them.
They all had to run by you?
Yeah, they all have to run by you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the one that actually really scared me, there was like a rogue one that was kind of like maybe not as fast as the other ones. And I thought it was all done. All of a sudden, like there's a bull like coming, and he's like, you know, booking it.
Were you wearing a red shirt?
I was wearing a white shirt with red. I was wearing white with red. I'm not that like the people wearing the red and the yellow. Don't do.
They're the crazy ones.
Those
right?
are the ones that have done it many times. And yeah, so I'm in dress shoes, literally dodging bulls. It's like ridiculous.
So you were like, did you see people actually that get like lifted up in the air by the bull? And
Yeah.
it's crazy stuff, man.
Now for the running with the bulls thing, not necessarily, because like I'm like, you know, it just goes by so quick. You know.
And don't they run into like an arena?
Yes. So in the arena,
that's like the ending point, right? Yeah.
that's where it gets crazy.
Yeah.
Is the arena,
Right.
Because then they put small, you know, bulls and like steers and stuff in there, and then
Right.
people just like taunt them.
Right.
And then the bull's
try to
just
get 'em to
running
chase
around
'em.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bull's like chasing people and then just trucking people. And like that, like I saw people literally fly in the air, just
That's
being
wild.
stupid or trying to ride it. And the thing just bucks them.
Do you have
know.
to pay for that?
So it's all in, you know, I don't know. That's a good question. I think it's all in the bucket list thing. I'm sure there's got to be some kind of
Running
ticketing,
with
you
the
would think.
bulls. Well, that's cool, man. I appreciate you sharing. That's the first time we've had that story here
Yeah.
on the show. So that
Yeah.
that adds a little little different touch there for our audience a little bit. So
Yeah.
if you ever want to run with the bulls, Just go to bucketlistevents.com. Is that what you said?
I believe it's that.
There you go.
Or just Google that. You'll find it. I don't recommend it, by the way. It's dangerous.
Do you have other things on that list that are ready to go next?
Yeah, I definitely want to do Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
And
that's actually on my list, too.
My goal is to win Oktoberfest.
I didn't know this was a competition.
Yeah, I know. There's
You could win it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, in your own mind, I guess.
I just want to win in my own mind. I want to take on the biggest guy there and outdrink him, you know? That's my goal.
I'm sure you'll find one.
Yeah, I'm sure.
By the way, I had this conversation the other day. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but is Oktoberfest like a specific week or period of time, or is it like the whole month?
Yeah, it's like the end of September, and then it goes on for like maybe a week or two in October, and then it ends.
Okay, so there are specific dates that you'd have to go, and it's like, is it in one place, or is it all over the country?
Well, I mean, I think it's just a common theme, I believe, and I haven't researched it a ton, but from what I've seen so far, there is like a really big area where there's like tons and tons of seating and like tents and places to sit where a lot of people are kind of hanging out. But that, to my understanding, that is what Oktoberfest basically is. But I mean, obviously everybody adopts it. In the area.
I'm actually a football fan myself, and I grew up in the Northeast, so I'm a Giants fan, but I like the Bucks as well now being down here.
Yep.
And the Giants are playing in Munich this year in the fall. I've never been to Germany, but I actually am German, part German. So I've been debating, like, trying to figure that out, see if I can go out to Germany to go to the game, which I hear is really hard to get into. I guess it's always sold out. The tickets are hard buys or whatever. But if it's close enough to Oktoberfest, that would be kind of cool if I could figure that out, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'll have to figure out some of those details and find out. I don't think my wife would really be down to go when we're not bringing the 5 kids and all that stuff. So I'll have to find a traveling buddy. Maybe you're available.
Yeah. Hey, let's go. I'll do it. Oh, yeah.
The birthplace of Oktoberfest is in Munich.
Is it really?
That's where it started. Was in Munich.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'm probably in the right place if I end up hanging out in Munich. I would like to get a car and drive the Autobahn and just really get a chance to experience Germany a little bit, you know? So there's some details that have to be ironed out still. About that.
Give me a call. You got my number.
Yeah, man.
And
now that I know that you're single, ready to go out there and travel anytime there's a need, so it's always good to have a traveling buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my best friends, she was born in Munich, and she speaks German, and it's great. You can't even tell, like, she has perfect accent, like American accent.
Got you.
Yeah, so she'll help.
All right, we're gonna put a bow on a couple things, rapid fire here. So. Do you have a favorite author, book, seminar, podcast that you ever attended or listened to that you feel like has made an impact on you personally or professionally?
So getting things done, GTT changed my life the most in that with time, basically time management, that was huge. I think it's like Dave Lawhon or something like that. Who?
Yeah, I've heard of that book. I haven't read it though.
Wow, that's a great one. When it comes to like if you want to be a manager, like say if you want to like really go into being a team owner like myself and really like get out of production, I'm not quite there obviously, but I aspire to be there. And you got to have good time management. That book changed my life.
Getting things done.
Yeah, cool. GTD.
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. It's crazy. I'd say my favorite movie, I like, like Ghostbusters was a really good one. Yeah, I like Ghostbusters. That was
classic
good.
80s.
Good old classic. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Or Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I love Menaces.
Yeah. You mentioned you love restaurants. Do you have a favorite food? Favorite place to go?
It definitely changes a lot. I'd say right now, I would say Noble Rice. I love Noble Rice a lot. The owner's a friend of mine. He's a great guy. And, I love the support, my friends too. So,
and then two last ones. So if somebody did want to reach out to you, John, whether it's about your team or your story, talk about poker, talk about the running with the bulls, what's the best way for someone to reach you?
Yeah. So, find me on like Instagram, John Morgan TPA. I don't put a ton of, I put a little bit of like personal life. I put more like business in general, but I do sprinkle personal life stuff in there. And then, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to. Hey, let's play poker. You want to play some high stakes poker? Let's go.
Hey, I'm sure you can get some people in the audience that
if you're
would be
not
down
good
for that.
If you're really good, don't play me. I don't want to play with you. Yeah.
If you want to play with a professional poker player who will let you take all your money away
I'm
from you,
not a professional.
John's the way to go.
Right now, I am not a professional poker player.
He's lost those professional skills. He'll make you believe anyway. So here's the question for you, John. When you one day sit in that rocking chair and look back on what you'd want your legacy to be, right? And what you'd want to be most remembered for. What do you think would matter most to you?
I want people to say, like, because I met John, like my life was so much better. I'm so glad I met John, for that. And that, yeah, I'm so grateful for what he did to help me with my life. Like, I don't even need to hear that now. It's like, honestly, if I'm dead, just do that. That's what I want.
Making an impact.
Making an impact. And I want people to just be grateful for that. I don't want recognition or anything like that, but that's very fulfilling to me.
Cool, man.
Because I always wanted that person. I was like, where's that guy for me?
We all need those people in our lives that are making a true impact and leading and guiding and helping us in various things, business, personal, whatever the needs might be. Those are the ones that we remember, right? So yeah. I can see that, and it definitely makes a difference long term. It was cool to have you here, man. I enjoyed the conversation. We'll have to have you back sometime to talk more about some of the other stories, the next couple of trips that you take. I'm sure there's different things we can flush out there. But we're going to end the episode the way we always do, which is with a challenge to the audience. And so if you had a chance to listen today live on any of our platforms, or you subscribe, or if you don't subscribe, just click the button. That way you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode with Tampa Bay Real Producers, which happens every single Friday. What is one action step that you can take from our conversation today with John that's going to propel you forward? Maybe you're somebody still a little struggling in the business. You could be on the newer side, or you're just going through a rough patch and you want to pick his brain on how he got over the hump there with some of the early struggles, right, that he had and what got him through, or just see how he's started to scale his organization now, where he's added multiple agents. He has an executive assistant that I got a chance to meet at our event, and other agents that have been there as well. And so scaling is definitely a process, and John's been in the work of doing that, and he's been doing it successfully. Or if you just want to, again, lose your money in poker to John, that's always another thing that you can do to take action as well. But do something, right? Take an action step that's going to move you forward, so the time that you invested in listening to this episode will be worth it. Of course, you can find us on 15 different podcast platforms out there. Check out topproducersnation.com to learn more about how to become a top producer if you're somebody out there who'd want to be a part of that community and help or learn how to become a consistent top producer yourself. We will see you on the next episode of the Tampa Bay Real Producers podcast. See you then. Bye.
Hi, I'm Troy Walseth with Walseth Teams with Keller Williams in Pinellas County, Florida. We are here at a Real Producers event, learning with the top agents in the country about how to succeed in any market. And I love Real Producers because you have an opportunity to talk to some of the top agents in the area, and they always do a great event.